Alright, Shalom. Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to begin this lesson by giving all praises, all glories, and all honors unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Recha Kodash, giving double honors, double unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who surely do rule well. To the men standing by the highways and byways pushing this doctrine, I'd like to say Shalom. And even unto the sincere Akwati sisters who sit listen to these lessons in silence, subjection, and obedience unto their husbands, I say Shalom. There's a brother Maya Shara coming back to you again with another bit of edification, and Lord willing, this video is edifying. Word of the day, February 1st, 2026. Gargantuan, what it means. Gargantuan describes something that is very large in size or amount. Something gargantuan, is, in other words, gigantic. And that had me thinking about this precept here, Revelation 20 and verse 5, Salakia verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua. Speaking of the 144,000, right? The men you saw stood on the Mount Zion with Yahushua in Revelation 14 verse 1. And for the word of power, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Mashiach 1,000 years, right? So this gave me the inspiration, right? That word coupled with this verse to speak about the gargantuan reign of the Israelites, right? Because we know that 1,000 years speaks about the first 1,000 years after Yahushua's return, where he will, establish the righteous order of this world, under Yahweh, and, will govern this world, right? So it's to establish the reign of the Israelites. But we know more than 1,000 years, this rule is going well beyond that. There Isaiah 9 from verse 6, right? What's so gargantuan about this rule? What's so gigantic or enormous is that this reign is not just going to last for 1,000 years, but it's going to be an everlasting reign. Isaiah 9 verse 6, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. His name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty Power, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace, right? This is Yahushua. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end, right? Upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it with and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, so from the time he's established it, even forever. The zeal of Yahweh of hosts will perform this. So what? His reign is going to last forever. There's going to be no end to his reign. Daniel 2, verse 44. And in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven, Yahweh, set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people. So it's only going to be for the Israelites, and it's never going to be destroyed, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, right? All the rulerships that ever existed before it. All those people are going to be subjected under us, and it shall stand forever. Daniel 7 and verse 18. But the saints of the Most High, the children of Israel, shall take the kingdom, the rulership, the dominion, and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. So what's so gargantuan about those 1,000 years is not just the fact that it's going to last for 1,000 years, but it's going beyond that point. There will be no end to this rulership. And what's going to happen under this rulership? You're going to serve the Most High Yahweh, every single man. Zechariah 14:9, and Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, shall be king over all the earth. In that day shall there be one Yahweh, and his name one. There is only going to be one Most High. Nobody is going to serve any other God, except for the God of the nation of Israel. 1 Corinthians 8 and verse 5. For though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and lords many, but to us there is but one power, one God, Yahweh, the Father, of whom are all things, and we in him, and one Lord, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, by whom are all things, and we by him. So we understand is what? There's not only going to be one Yahweh, one God, one power in the heavens and in the earth and of the universe, but what? There's going to be one Lord of this realm. His name is Yahweh Shai Mashiach. Daniel 7 and verse 13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man, Yahweh came with the clouds of heaven, the chariots, and came to the Ancient of Days, who is Yahweh. And they brought him near before him, and there was given him dominion, glory, and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So what? There's going to be one God and one Lord. What's so gargantuan about this reign? Because in this world, you see, again, that 1 Corinthians 8 and 5, everybody off serving their own gods. But under we rule, that's not going to happen. You're not going to be able or allowed to serve any other power except for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Philippians 2 and 9. Wherefore power had also highly exalted him and given him a name which is above every name. That name going into the Greek word onoma, denoting rank. That at the name of Yahushai every knee should bow, of things in heaven and things in earth and things under the earth, and that every tongue should confess that Yahushai Mashiach is Lord, to the glory of power, God, Yahweh, the Father. So, by the time Yahushai comes here and he establishes his rule, his reign, his dominion, his kingdom, and he orders it with judgment and with justice, there isn't going to be any other God in the earth. Nobody is going to give any recognition or believe or acknowledge any other God or any other idol in the earth besides Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And with that comes the keeping of our laws, because we understand to acknowledge any other power other than Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is transgression of the first commandment, right? Where it is Yahushai said, above all these, he hung the law and all the prophets on these two commandments, which is what? Love the Lord Yahweh with all thy strength, with all thy might, with all thy soul, and what? Love your neighbor as you love yourself. So the first commandment is what? Is to fear and to keep and to believe in the Most High power, Yahweh, to have that only one power, right? So if the whole compass of the earth is only going to know about, recognize, and believe in one power, that must mean that they're going to keep our laws, right? Because that would be the first commandment, Exodus 20, from verse 1. And power spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other powers before me. So the first commandment in the 10 main ones, he told them what? Chiefly, principally, there's the first of those 10 commandments is to love the Lord Yahweh. Sorry, not to love, but to have no other power before Yahweh. And since, it's going to be worldwide, that there isn't going to be any power besides Yahweh, that must come with keeping the laws, right? Verse 2, I am Yahweh thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other powers before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water underneath the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. So what? Idol worship abolished. For I, Yahweh, thy power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. So what? The heathens going to keep our laws under this rule, right? Isaiah 2, and reading from verse 1, the word of Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, right? So the government of all governments, Isaiah 9:6, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the power of Jacob. He will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. So what, it's going to be a worldwide thing to keep the laws of the nation of Israel. We know this because, well, again, let us go up to the power of Jacob. So they're not saying let me go to the power of the Elamites, not to the power of the Canaanites, or the rather powers of the Elamites and Canaanites or any other nation, right? So in that time, they're going to acknowledge that the one true power of the heavens and earth is Yahweh. Same like here, I see this happen with the harlot Rahab, when the nation of Israel would have, when the two spies would have been sent to spy out the land of Canaan on behalf of the nation of Israel before they went into the land to possess it, right? What Rahab would have said to the two spies. I said book of Judges, Salakia, the book of Joshua, right? Right, verse 11. And as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt, neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you. For Yahweh, your power, your God, he is God in heaven above and in earth beneath, right? So just like Rahab and all the Canaanites would have acknowledged that the one true power of the heavens and earth is Yahweh, that's going to be the acknowledgement of every nation in the whole compass of the earth, and they're going to have to keep our laws, because we know, pursuant to Psalms 147, verse 19, he shewed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He had not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye Yahweh. So what we know, the only nation in the whole compass of the earth that was given the laws of Yahweh was the nation of Israel. But you've seen here in this Isaiah 2, it also had the same statement in Micah 4, that what they're going to learn of his ways. So what? And even we know, as pursuant to the new covenant, when that will be established after the return of Yahushua, that what? They shall no more teach every man his neighbor, or teach every man his brother. Know the law, for all shall know. So what? Since the nation of Israel will not have to be taught the law, somebody gonna have to teach it or be taught it for these precepts to be fulfilled. So that have to be speaking about the heathens, right? So they're gonna keep our laws. Micah 4 from verse 1. But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of Yahweh shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it. And many nations shall come and say, Come, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, and to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth out of Zion, and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. So what Isaiah 40, it's 41 and 10? Not 41 and 10. Isaiah 42, not 10, right. Isaiah 42 and 21, Yahweh is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable, because we know in these last days the law is not honorable. It has no weight. But that's not going to be the case in the kingdom. They Habakkuk 1 and 4. Therefore the law is slack, and judgment doth never go forth. For the wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceeded. But as pursuant to that Isaiah 42:21, the law is going to be magnified. It's going to be made honorable. Even again, when you go back to that Isaiah 9:6, what the Yahushua is going to what? He's going to, so like if I just remember the wording of that. He's going to establish his throne with what? With judgment and justice. The zeal of the Lord Yahweh of hosts will perform this. So what? What judgments he going to establish it with? The judgments that are written in the law. So what? The law is going to be magnified. It's going to be made honorable, and that's going to go for all nations, not just the nation of Israel, right? Going now, just to finish that Micah 4, verse 3. And he shall judge among many people and rebuke strong nations afar off. right? And they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. So what of the increase of peace, there shall be no end. So what? It's going to be perfect peace in the time to come when Yahushua establishes his kingdom. Now, one more precept here, because we have to understand what's going to be so gargantuan about this rule is that nobody's going to have a choice but to keep our laws. Zechariah 14:16, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem, which we know is speaking about the heathen nations, Psalms 83, the council, tabernacles of Edom, the Hagarenes, Moab, Ammon, right? And even you read Nehemiah 5 and 9, what from the wrath of the heathen, our enemies. And even when you read his first Maccabees 2 and verse 10, what nation had not had part in her spoil, right? So all these nations came against us, right? Shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt go not up, and come not that have no rain, there shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the feast of tabernacles. This shall be the punishment of Egypt, and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the feast of tabernacles. So what? All these nations gonna be punished if they do not hearken, obey, and bow to our power and to our laws. And what guys were also going to be so gargantuan about this rule is that you're not going to have a choice, really, right? Because what this rule is going to be established with an iron fist. Revelation 2 from verse 5. But that which ye have already hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, which when you go into that rod of iron, it goes into a rigorous rule. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I have received of my Father. And what? You read that in Psalms 2. Give me the heathen for thy possession, and give me the heathen for an inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. So what he asked the Father for this, and he received it. And I will give him the morning star. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. So what? During this rule, it's going to be a rule of rigor with an iron fist and an iron rod. You're not going to be able to come up against us or say anything against us. And if you do, there's going to be punishments, right? Psalms, and the heathens already know of these things because they've lived it many times. Psalms chapter 9, and reading from verse 16. Yahweh is known by the judgment which he executed. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands, Haggai Selah. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget power. For the needy shall not always be forgotten, the expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. Arise, O Yahweh, let not man prevail, let the heathen be judged in thy sight. Put them in fear, O Yahweh, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. And what Malachi 1:14, the name of Yahweh is dreadful among the heathen. So it's nothing these heathens don't know about. They are accustomed to these judgments because they faced them so much already in times past, and they're going to get it in the kingdom as well. Psalms 149 verses 4. For Yahweh taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek with salvation. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the praises of Yahweh be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. praise ye Yahweh. So nothing is going to be able to be done against the nation of Israel. If you do not keep our laws, Yahweh will answer our prayers and you all will be judged. Because what? The Lord takes delight in these things. There is 2 Thessalonians 1 and verse 6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with power to recompense tribulation to them that troubled you. And to you who are troubled, rest with us when the Lord Yahushai shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels, in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not power and that obey not the gospel of our Lord Yahushai Mashiach. So vengeance will be taken on you all. And if you try to break any of our laws and if you try to come up against us in the kingdom to come, you're going to be broken to shivers. And what? Last point. What's going to be so gargantuan about this rule is that what? All these heathen nations going to acknowledge that we are the rightful rulers of this earth, right? Proverbs 29 and verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear its rule, the people mourn. So what the people are going to rejoice at the revelation of the rightful rulers of this earth, right? Isaiah chapter 14, I'm going to read verse 16. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of the prisoners? Who is this speaking of? The current ruler of this world, Esau and Edom, prophetically speaking, right? Lucifer. So what? Right now, the nation suffering, right? Because what? The wicked being rule. But when the righteous come in authority, the people gonna rejoice. So right now, they have to acknowledge that the ones who currently in rule are the ones who are the oppressors. Isaiah 19 and verse 4. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, which the apostles, Apostle Tar, beginning with him, pointed it out that we believe that cruel Lord to be Donald Trump. And a fierce king shall rule over them, saith Yahweh, Yahweh of hosts. So what? Right now, as it stands, the earth mourning because what? I believe what? That is Romans, to wit the manifestation of the sons of power. The creature had grown it. Let me see what that precept is. In fact, I'll just look it up. Creature grown it. Is it creation? Romans 8, verse 22. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan with ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body. And what the redemption of our body will bring about? What? The manifestation of the sons of power. That Hosea 1 and 10, where it was said unto you. Let me read that real quick, because the whole world going to say this to us, right? Hosea 1 and 10, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, which this was said unto us all over the world, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power. So the whole world is going to recognize that the Israelites, mainly the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, are the real Israelites, right? The biblical Israelites, and it's going to be acknowledged that we are the true sons of power and the rightful rulers of this earth. Sirach 10 and verse 4. The power of the earth is in the hand of Yahweh, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. Again, beginning with Yahushai upon his return, right? Jumping down to verse 8, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people, Job 9:24, the ones who currently have the rule in this earth, the wicked, even Malachi 1 and 4, they shall be known as the board of wickedness. So everybody is going to know they are the seed of the wicked, right? The kingdom is translated from one people to another, right? The people who really should rule this earth, the righteous ones, beginning with Yahushai, Mashiach, extending down to King David, the 144,000, the rest of the elect, and by extension, the whole nation of Israel. We are the rightful rulers of this earth and not the heathens, right? And the whole world is going to gladly call us their rulers and their lords, right? They're going to acknowledge us. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying and that you were edified. In closing, we like to say, Kal halal yom la Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakha Kodash. And to give double honors, double unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who surely do rule well. To the men standing by the highways and byways, pushing this doctrine, I like to say shalom. And even unto the sincere Akwatni sisters who sit listening to these lessons in silence, subjection and obedience unto their husbands, I like to say shalom. This was your brother Maya Shala, and until next time I say shalom.